There's actually a place I saw on the internet that serves pizza pot pie. Have you seen that?
No.
They take a bowl. Take a bowl, and then they brush it with butter.
Okay.
And then they line the bowl with slices, like thick slices of cheese.
All right,
and then they pour like sauce in the bowl.
Okay.
So now you got the cheese like lining the bowl and the sauce in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Then they take the pizza dough and then they wrap it around the bowl.
All right.
And now it kind of looks like a mushroom.
Sure.
They brush it with butter or olive oil or something, and then they bake it. And then they take it out, they turn it upside down onto a plate and remove the bowl, and so you've got like this bowl of crust that becomes it's a bowl, and then it's filled in the middle with sauce that's covered in a mound of cheese on top, so it looks like a pot pie. And as you dig in, it's a pizza pot pie.
That sounds amazing.
And it looks like it's way too much food.
Oh.
Even though they have like a small, which I think is a half pound.
Oh,
A half pound pizza pot pie. We could go there.
all right.
That could be our consolas.
We'll put it on the calendar. We'll tweet it out. You can join us.
Yes.
Buy us stuff.
I think it's the Pizza Grinder Company or something. I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah. Hello there! This is HIMYM Superfans. Hey there, Chris Venezia.
Hello, James Hamilton.
This is a show where we talk about the CBS comedy How I Met Your Mother.
This is also the show where we spoil plot points for the entire series.
That's your spoiler alert. We've done all of Season 1, so check that out. And also check out our YouTube page for some exclusive flash-forward episodes we've done in Seasons 4, 6, 9, 13, 27, and 81.
And beyond.
Yeah. On this episode, we're going to talk about stuff, a.k.a. booby pillows.
Booby pillows. Yes. I'm stupid, but my rack is huge.
That's great. Originally aired February 19th of 2007, directed by Pam Just Got Off Vacation Fryman.
Is the court-mandated vacation.
Right.
Yes, so this is actually the Valentine's Day episode. I mean, it's not, but, it's an episode around that time, and also it ends up with Ted and Robin deciding that they're going to move in together, even though they don't, and it's also the robot finds love.
Yes.
Episode.
So, yes, it's their Valentine's episode this year. Did not directly reference Valentine's. I think they do later. I know a lot of other shows do, particularly Parks and Rec. Friends of the show, Eric and Nicole, know. Galentine's Day.
Yeah. Now that's something I actually do not know about Parks and Rec. Legitimately don't know. I would have actually gone with AKA Moist.
Moist. Moist.
Because it's so simple. It's really the minimalist title of an episode that I like so much. It really defines what the episode is about. Not really at all, but they do
much
make
as
a
columns.
Point. They do. You're right. Yes. Yeah. Columns. Actually, a terrible name, but at least I like that it's concise. But Moist. That Lily can't stand it. Barney says it 100 times and then shoots her in the face while saying it with a squirt gun. Pretty brilliant. But I also know plenty of people.
Their dogs licking faces.
That's true.
Things
yeah,
moist.
That's moist. I know plenty of people that don't like it. That that's an actual thing, or that word just grinds on them for some reason.
Really grinds their gears.
Yeah, it really burns their bacon.
I'd never heard of this. I don't like hearing the word moist before this episode, and I've yet to meet someone in real life who's responded with revulsion the same way Lily does. Do I know someone who doesn't like the word moist?
Yeah, but it'd be hard for me to get you in contact with him at this point anymore.
That's fine. It's great, a.k.a. I think it's even better, hashtag.
Hashtag moist?
Yeah.
Oof.
That
almost even bothers me to say that. Yeah.
That does make it even dirtier,
yeah.
Doesn't it? Hashtag moist?
Yeah. Like, why? Why is this hashtag moist? What in the world is hashtag moist?
If we have any Twitter followers whatsoever that aren't porn bots, If you could retweet this episode with #moist, we would love it so much.
We do have actually a few porn bots, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
They keep liking my stuff.
And for a while there, I was friending people without, taking a second to look. So there might still be a couple porn bots on my friends list. I promise, Mom, they're not my friends.
I don't understand Twitter.
Who does? Does somebody?
I think Instagram's the new thing. That's what the kids are telling me these days.
It is the place that you can see all the HIMYM Superfans pictures of the dogs.
Okay.
The dogs of HIMYM the podcast.
All right, well, check out himymthepodcast.com/Instagram.
.facebook/groups.
Yes. So check that out, if you would. But, I don't know, do we have anything else? Oh, you wanted to mention the guest stars.
Not really.
Oh, okay. I made that up.
I will list here the guest stars.
Yeah, just list them in alphabetical order with no feeling.
All right. Taryn Westbrook as Stacey Ronsley, E.E. Bell as Mystery Man, Ashley Ford as Lauren Stein, Diana Gittinger as Alyson Moses, Taylor Hoover as Janine Radford, Jason L. Bratt as Hot Guy, Rick Mal M. Bry as Floppy Haired Guy, and Evan Mann as Zach Greco.
Evan Mann plays a dog.
Plays Zach Greco.
Well, Zach Greco's the ex-boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. So one of the dogs, perhaps. Floppy Haired Guy got the CGI treatment.
Okay.
I don't know who Hot Guy is.
Really, any of those people could have been any of those people.
Right.
So we're going to, as we have been for a few weeks now, we're going to watch the episode while we talk about it. You don't have to queue up with it, but you can. So without further ado, let's watch some stuff.
That this is slap number 2.
Yeah.
So for the fans following the slap bet, it starts in the first season episode. No, this season. It starts this season in the episode Slap Bet that I know affectionately as Robin Sparkles.
Right. That's where we get the first slap. There's actually quite a few slaps in that as they trade them back and forth before we get to the definitive, this is the number of slaps. When we get 1 right off the bat, because Marshall wants to use 1, he gets 2 in this episode. Later on, there are some new slaps added. That's where even the creators of the show got confused at one point as to how many slaps there were left, which finally culminated in Barney getting slapped in the face at his own wedding, which is fantastic. But yes, stuff contains slap number 2. So we've been seeing Robin and Ted hang out all coupley all season long. But it's always been gosh, I don't know how to describe it other than it looks really happy, but also very normal and fluid, and they're not trying too hard. It's simple. They're always in their pajamas, and they're always laughing, and they're giggling, and they're making breakfast, and they're watching a movie on the couch. This one's funny because it shows all of those things, except they're not clicking anymore. Because Ted's refusing to talk about his ex-girlfriends. And that's bugging Robin because it's he's keeping something from her. Yeah. Is, I think, why she's bothered. That's my assumption.
I think that's why she's bothered, but this episode furthers my theory that the directors, Pam Fryman and Rob Greenberg, worked brilliantly together to sort of make this season, whenever you saw Ted and Robin together and they weren't focal characters of that episode, all you saw was the good stuff, the stuff you would see from the outside of your friend's relationship.
Yes, right.
And the episodes where they do focus on Ted and Robin as the focal characters, we do see the same things, but we see the other stuff that Marshall, Lily, and Barney never see, the parts where Ted keeps remembering old girlfriends and passing it off as his sister.
That's really good, and I think that's really insightful and almost a little cheating from writing a story perspective. Because on the one hand, I think that's brilliant Because, like when you're observing a relationship, somebody else's relationship, oftentimes all you see is the good stuff because that's all they're going to present to you.
Right.
And there is another side to it. And so I like that in a way that's sort of what they've been doing with this season, is like from the outside, looking in, everything seems like it's perfect, like I was describing it earlier.
Here's another perfect example, this shot with them on the couch with Robin in the red hoodie.
Yeah.
That could have been a shot from any other episode this season with Marshall walking by and saying, "Oh, I'm worried about my marathon running." But now we see the other part where Ted ruins it by saying, "Oh yeah, that's an ex-girlfriend's hoodie and that's some whore's makeup."
So yeah, exactly. I like that your go-to was that Marshall was worried about his marathon because that only happened in one episode, and I would have said like, I'm worried about law school, which we have not heard about since.
He's not worried.
Like Ted Mosby, Architect, was the last time I remember hearing anything about
Barney
Marshall
tamed
being
the cougar and
in
it's smooth
law
sailing.
School. So it is nice when like the focus is on them that we actually get to see the other side, like the real stuff, because like relationships are messy. And they aren't just that, like, super awesome part of the relationship. My favorite part.
Right, yeah.
They spend all day in your jammies making food and watching TV. And having that just be great.
Right. Ted's monologue from the first episode of Season 2 was, you spend a lot of time in bed.
Right.
You don't wear a lot of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's new and exciting.
Yeah. Yep, and then they get insecure, which we haven't seen a whole lot of, other than the other episode that was about them.
Right. That was about their insecurities.
Yes, right. So I suppose when they're going to have an episode about it, that's what it's all about. No, not the sweatshirt. Just throw it on the ground. Yeah, throw it on the ground.
Throw it on the ground.
That aside, Lily's in a play.
I do like that they captured the feel of a terrible play that your friend put on. I haven't been to a lot of shows like this, but a few of them up in Chicago I've been to that are
They're
really
claustrophobic.
Like
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the sound and music guy who doesn't care is a nice touch.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he works there.
Right.
Based on the fact that when Barney comes back to do Terrible Play 2, The Revenge of the Play, then it's the same guy.
Yeah, he's one of the 3 employees of this theater that seats 20.
Right.
And also, it's kind of a tropey commentary on how esoteric and egotistical playwrights are. They take it to the extreme here because it's a sitcom. That's my sitcom moment.
Okay.
Oh, it's a terrible play, and the director's making really obvious commentary about consumerism that we've heard before, and
then wants to talk to people about it afterwards,
and thinks he's brilliant and original.
Right, yeah. Well, I've never met anybody like that, but I can imagine. I can imagine somebody being like that.
Yeah, I've never met someone like that either. So that's why I think it's kind of a TV trope.
I do like the line there where like all of Ted's stuff is gone, and she's like, "Don't you buy anything for yourself? Like, Papa gets swag."
I do like.
He doesn't buy anything for himself. He's like, "Why would I need to?" And he's given himself a nickname.
Yeah, I do like that Ted seems to be on a self-esteem roller coaster throughout the series.
Yeah,
and like even in this episode, he was like distraught because he had to get rid of stuff, but then he was like, Papa gets swag. He has these moments of confidence around Robin.
Yeah. So the dogs were all gifts, which is stupid.
Yeah, terrible gift.
Just throw that out there.
Don't give a living creature as a gift. Unless it's a plant.
Plant, yeah. Well, I was going to say that, but you beat me to it. Plant is acceptable as long as the person that's receiving it likes plants. Otherwise, you've just given them something that they're going to kill.
Yeah, and it's not poisonous to any pets they might have.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So there are a few rules in that, but still, plant is pretty good.
So ask for help.
Right.
Any store that sells plants will have someone who will tell you what not to buy.
I mean, even ask if they want a plant. I mean,
right.
Unless you just
Cactus is a good bet.
Unless you have to surprise them and they can't possibly know what what you're going to get.
Very small. Don't have to water them.
Just ask about plants. Ask their thought on plants. What do you think about plants?
Just say anything.
What do you think about plants?
Go make mouth noises near them.
Yes. They'll probably give you an impression of what they like and don't like.
Yeah. So I was going to go over the guest stars of this episode, but there's so many of them because they have the play. They have all these dudes filling in for Robin's dogs, these model types, his visions of his girlfriend's ex-boyfriends.
Yeah. You know what else is funny about this is that Robin received 5 dogs, presumably from 5 different guys, since she's been to New York and has never had a serious relationship. How long was it, is my question, before these guys gave her a dog?
Yeah, boy.
I mean, she's
30
with them
days?
for like, I was like with what's his butt, Mike from season 1. They were together for like 3 weeks.
Right.
If one of the dogs came from him, that was less than 3 weeks. I'm gonna buy her a dog.
Not. She must have gotten some of those dogs before she arrived in New York. There must be some Canada dogs in there.
Yeah, could be.
Canadian dogs. Like that one right there. I'm just kidding.
Labrador?
That's the most it's
a Dalmatian.
Yeah. Most un-Canadian dog ever.
What would a Canadian dog be?
The big hairy one that carries rum on his collar?
The Beethoven dog?
Yes. Any dog that's like 2/3 hair.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Fat and over 75 pounds.
You know what's funny is when we were growing up, every single time that one of those dogs was represented in media, it had a barrel under its chin with booze in it.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Where'd that go? As a concept, I have not seen that.
You're disappointed there aren't more dogs wandering around carrying liquor?
A little.
That would be great.
I mean, yes, to put a point on it, yes. That is disappointing.
I mean, if I had the option of living in a world where that happened, then yeah. But I believe it is an old remedy for hypothermia or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'll warm you up or make you feel like you're warm.
And I believe they since learned that it'll actually kill you quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have my science right in front of me, but I think that's likely.
But if you're gonna freeze to death, you might as well get drunk.
I mean, yeah, it'll hurt less.
Yeah,
just
go to sleep.
Slip it. Yeah, exactly right. Just slip into unconsciousness. Yeah. So that got weird, fans. But
well, that's the content of our next play.
It gets slipping into the oblivion.
It gets real dark, folks.
So
there's 45 minutes in the middle where I just lay on stage without moving.
Go find something else to do, like off stage. Like, check my email. Get on Facebook. Barnabas. So most of the season so far, Ted and Robin have been really comfortable in their relationship. They've been very confident, and it's been refreshing to see that and have it not be like crazy and roller coastery. We've got a little bit of it with the first time in New York this season.
Yeah. But
this episode is taking a different spin, where like they're both kind of insecure, and actually as things progress towards inevitably when they talk about moving in together, and that may be what was sparking both of their insecurities, is like, well, what are we going to do with all of our stuff? Before it was even a conversation. Like, the problem is stuff. You have too much stuff. It's all from your girlfriends. Your stuff is your dogs, and I'm allergic to them. Is that like in moving forward in the relationship, and they feel like the next step is moving in together, it like stirs up insecurities that they may have either otherwise not had or been keeping down, suppressing because they weren't relevant so far.
Right. Yeah. These were things where they weren't thinking about until they started thinking about moving the relationship forward. I think this is what you're saying. Even before they said, let's move in together, they were thinking, in the future, that's ultimately what we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
if this is going to move forward, it
Yeah.
is eventually going to get into the move-in phase.
Yeah, and that that future anxiety transferred itself into the present as you have stuff from old girlfriends.
Right.
And that brings up in Robin anxieties that she has about sincerity or body image maybe, and for Ted it brings up I think definitely a body image thing.
Because all the dog morphs are these models.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like he hasn't really had a problem with any of her exes so far. Like, I mean, he's never met any of them. Actually, he didn't even meet Mike, the Hansel guy that we were talking about earlier.
He's still hot right now.
Yes. But he hasn't met any of them. It hasn't been a problem. He can put all of that out of his mind. But with the dogs there, constantly reminding him of her exes, like he just can't get out of his mind like what those guys were like.
No, I would not have put up with that either. I would have slapped him a lot sooner.
Yes, without
Regardless
having
of
slaps. Yes.
Yes.
I may have just left, or possibly take the recorder, break it in half, and say, if you want the $5 that this cost, I will give it to you.
Oh,
but this show is over.
Yes. or I thought you were going to say, and then hand it back to him and says, "Thank you very much." I'm sorry.
At any rate, I mean, you could just leave the terrible play too, but no, I can't stand the recorder. I mean, it's like the instrument that we trick kids into like playing to think that they're good at instruments, so that they decide to try other instruments down the road,
right,
like, to spark their interest in music. But no one is good at the recorder because it is terrible as an instrument. Like you can't polish a turd, is what I'm saying.
The good version of a recorder is called an oboe.
Yes, like the best possible rendition on a recorder is worse than
flute.
The worst possible rendition of any other instrument ever.
Yeah.
Just including banging on a trash can. So Barney is a robot that's in love with a toaster, which he calls it a toaster oven, which it's not.
Yeah.
That's just a toaster.
Right. Well, it's just another subtle dig at how cheap his theater is.
Right. Yeah. He asked for a toaster oven, and they brought a toaster.
Yeah. It's halfway there. Does toast.
That's two.
That's two.
Yeah. Marshall gets applause. They sit back down. I don't know. Is there more play after Barney gets slapped? I don't know. I can't imagine.
I don't think so. Barney seemed really happy with the play he wrote and genuinely excited to share this vision of the toaster that's in love. We never get to see that. I'm really sad. Robot guy didn't become like part of the playbook in some way.
Yeah. Well, maybe he did, and it just didn't make it.
Maybe in the How I Met Your Mother movie.
Right.
That's what they'll do. Summer adventure with Barney and Robin, I guess. Everyone else is busy, pregnant and married. What did you like about that episode, Chris?
When I originally watched it, I liked it a lot because it actually ended with Ted and Robin deciding that they were going to move in together, which I liked. I liked in part because actually I liked them as a couple, despite having already been told that she's not the mother.
Right.
That was actually one of the things that was super interesting about the show, is that, like, you're told from episode 1 that they're not going to end up together as a couple. It's been the entire first season about them getting together as a couple.
Yep.
And then they get together as a couple, and you're watching it, and you're like, well, I don't want to root against them.
What the hell?
What am I watching?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to me, and why is it so good?
I think it was a brilliant hook, too, to get a new audience at that time. Wasn't as hard as it is today, but they were coming after Friends. We needed another sitcom. We needed another hit. And there was nothing really serving this market. And I think the hook for me was, it takes place in 2030, which is a lie.
Right.
It doesn't really. But I think the reason it kept getting press was, one, the cast is amazing.
Yeah.
Two, the stories are great. And also the novelty of, they said, it's called How I Met Your Mother. They said Robin's not the mother. It's season 2, and he's dating Robin, who's not the mother. So what's the story? How is it going to end?
What is it about?
You're right.
Yeah, I like the characters, I like the actors, I like the stories. I like the overall story, the mystery, but like, what the hell am I watching? Because like this show is about Ted and Robin right so far being together. It's like, she's not the mother, like, but I don't want them to break up because I care about them. Like, I want to see them happy. I don't want to see them go through that hurt, and also having to like redefine what the group dynamic is because after they break up, I want it to work, and I don't know. Maybe there's also a part of it that I liked because the relationship that you know isn't going to work, but you want to see how long it'll go, kind of thing. Which I can't say that I haven't had that before. You know, like it's like I don't. This doesn't feel like it's like the one, but
Not ready to give up.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the harm in trying anyway? To see.
Kind of being a little zen about it, maybe, being in the present.
Yeah, because they've even got their stuff where they like the relationship itself is good, but they both want a different future and have already covered that.
Right.
And they should feel like the relationship, either somebody's gonna have to change their mind, or they are going to eventually break up, and they're still 100% in it. And that's what I mean. Like, I've had that before.
Right.
I'm like I don't think we're on the same page here, but I like this, and I'm not going to end this.
Right.
Kind of thing.
They talk about it in a couple episodes from now. Ted says we have an expiration date. We're heading down this direction. We're going in the same direction for now. Off in the distance, there's a destination, and you might have a different destination, and we might split 50 feet down the track, 1,000 feet down the track, 5,000 feet down the track, but we're here together, so let's just keep going until then.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I felt was very relatable in watching Ted and Robin. I was like, oh yeah, well, good for them, because the parts that are working are still working. So why not celebrate that and keep moving forward?
Yeah, this season, you could pick out the Ted and Robin episodes, and each one of them is a punctuation point in the classic boy meets girl relationship, where some bad things happen, some good things happen, we have some conflict, we have some resolution, we have some trust building, we start thinking about the future. And in this story, it ends with they take another step forward. We're going to move in together, even knowing that ultimately they're not going to get married and have children, or Robin might want to move away, and they cover all this later in the episodes coming up.
Right. They're actually not that far down the road.
Yeah. So we are coming towards the end of the season, and we got some great ones coming up here. Arrivederci Fiero is the next episode of this show we're going to do. One of my favorites. I have an idea for this one, Chris. We should rent one of those vans that has the DVD player in the back, and we watch this episode while we record a commentary and have someone drive us down the road.
Well, let's see if we can do that.
Let's make it happen.
All right.
We'll go to Gonzola's.
Actually, Gonzola's apparently is actually terrible. It's got problems with diseases.
Right.
Is actually really it's the food might taste good, but they have like a serious problem with like pests, and pests being in, on, and around the food, and a food poisoning issue.
Mm-hmm.
And they like it anyway. That's not any place that I'd like to go. But as far as like pizza places in Chicago, there's a few that we could probably look into.
Do they have good pizza in Chicago? So that was Stuff. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Feelings inside. Oh no.